microphone.
Hey, Coach. Just this general softball question. When you go down there for that type of a tournament, what thing did you learn about your team after those 2 games there?
Yeah, I think the main thing I learned is like we're a little more together than I thought. Even though we hadn't played great up until that point, not that we played great, but like the guys were really pulling for each other. I could see their camaraderie coming through, and that was the only way we could win those 2 games. And but just to see kind of the positive encouragement in huddles that was kind of permeating through the team, and there was some adversity, and the way our guys bounced back from that, like there was no pouting, there was no negative energy, there was guys picking each other up, and that's what we're gonna have to continue to do. So that's what I was most proud of.
And just being 7 games in, if you could talk about like maybe the chemistry that may be forming between Great and Tyler. I'm just really curious about those two. Just had a chance to kind of talk with him just about the things that Tyler's kind of going through, and like how Great can maybe help him with those things of like as he sort of talked about, as you rise up that scouting report, as teams start to kind of notice you now, this is kind of how you have to deal with them.
Well, it is, and and Tyler, he played terrific the first game, and then the previous game prior to the tournament, and 2 of his better scoring games in his career. And we're going to need that moving forward, because he's capable of doing that. Against Santa Clara, he didn't, score as much, but like I said, now he's on teams' reports, and teams are going to make it really hard on him. But that's where, and I wouldn't, Great can help him with that. And, and if you watch, Great pretty much facilitated everything. He's either assisting or scoring on a lot of the possessions. I should say, but Tyler, the first game, was tremendous, hitting 5 threes. But I want to give a lot of credit to Louis Courtright, Zoom, Tyree to an extent. Makai, I thought had some great moments down there. But posting some of our guards, it opened up lanes for Great. It opened up lanes to get other guys shots. It got DJ shots. I thought DJ got going against Santa Clara, and when he's shooting the ball like that, it opens up everything. And we've had to become a totally different team in the last 10 days, than we had been all summer, all fall, preseason. We're a completely different team now. I have 2 post guys out, and we weren't that deep in the post anyways, and now we have 2 post guys out. And so we've had to kind of, play a smaller lineup at times, and, which is going to be tough. There's times we're going to have to do it against UCLA in Big Ten play. But I know it's not sustainable in the long term. We have to get tougher and better if we're going to do that. And so we still got to have Wilhelm and Great. Big Casey's got to give us some good minutes. He hasn't played this, so much this year, but it's time. And when he gets in there, he's got to produce. And Christian King. And I know I'm rambling on one question, but all the guys are doing a great job. I thought, we don't win that first game without Christian. I thought he defended well. He got the layup and he hit the big 3. And so. Like I said before, it's going to be a strength in numbers team, and it drives you crazy to coach like that. But it's also fun to see who's going to step up every game.
I know you gave an update on Frank last week, but what's the situation with Conway?
Yeah, just his knees have been kind of banged up and sore, and so I don't expect him back
At all for the season?
Yeah, I don't know.
So will he redshirt and come back?
He'll redshirt. Yeah, I'm not. Yeah, I mean, you never know what happens now, but yeah, he'll redshirt, and the plan will be to come back. Yeah.
Okay. And with Frank, at the end of last year, the previous coaching staff suggested that he might have a couple of years of eligibility left. Have you looked into that? What he's got left?
Yeah. There's a possibility. You can't apply for the medical red shirts until your eligibility's up, and obviously he has a couple of them that we can apply for. Mm-hmm.
Hey, Danny, you said 7-10 days ago you're totally different now compared to where you were for obvious reasons.
Yeah.
I'm wondering from a scoring aspect, has that changed? Or did you already think you were going to be kind of a ham and egg, where like Tyler can go for 24, but then you've got to have Zoom pick up, you've got to have Louis pick up, you've got to have Great obviously do what Great does. Is there an element to that as well?
There is. I think we're probably a little more dangerous when we do go small. From an offensive standpoint, we can spread teams out more. And I think, especially down there, that's the fastest we've played. That's how my teams usually play, like when we're getting stops, like we're going, and we got a lot of points in transition both games. And even when we didn't score, like we're getting great shots at the rim. And that's how we have to, we have to continue to play like that when we are small, because we are going to have to pick up the tempo a little bit. But like I said, tomorrow night, like UCLA is not going to let you play like that, and so we have to be prepared for that. We have to be prepared to play big. And then there is times where we're going to have to go small. We're going to have to use our zones or, whatever we have to do to scrap and claw.
Can you also see that as being an incentivizing moment for some of the guys coming off the bench? Because you mentioned Makai, obviously had big moments against in the first game, and obviously DJ can come and hit threes and whatnot. Does that allow you to tell those guys, hey, you got to be ready, because your moment, we may need you, because we are going to have times where you're going to have to step up or you're going to have to step up, that kind of thing?
Yeah, no question. And I don't know if I necessarily need to tell them that. Like, they know that, and they know how important they are. And not just Makai and DJ, like Tyree, Jace Butler. Like, Jace has some great minutes, like he really has. And it's hard to play so many guys, but when you are playing a small lineup, it's easier to play a bunch of guards. Because even Makai, like against Santa Clara, like he hit a big three. He had a great pass to great for an and one dunk. Like it was an elite pass. And and we need him to continue to do that and play with that confidence. Because when he does, like he makes us a different team.
For Tyler, is there a moment, maybe this summer or a game specifically, that kind of made you think that this is something that he's capable of going off for 20 plus points? Is there a moment specifically where you saw a possibility?
No, like in the summer, there was times where when he gets to his mid-range pull-up, or that little floater, like the more I saw him do it, I was like, man, he doesn't miss it very often. And he's got such great length, and being 6'8", he's got a knack to score the basketball. He really does. Like when he puts his head down, like he just sees that orange thing, and he knows how to get it up there. And what you need, I love that he has that scoring mentality. And now his next step too is realizing when he's scoring, like teams are going to run two guys at him. Now get a teammate a shot. Like he can be so good offensively to where he's getting everybody else shots. And like that's where great is. You look at 80% of our shots, like it's because of the attention great draws or pass out of a double team and things like that. And Tyler can be a player like that also.
You're entering the conference, Big Ten right now, that has a lot of tough teams. How important is it to enter that stretch 6-1 in non-conference play, especially at a school where there's been some tough November losses recently?
Yeah, it is. I think it's good because we try to show the little things that we're doing that impact winning. I think we've done a pretty good job like chesting up, making teams score over us. And when you look at kind of the analytics of the Colorado State and Santa Clara game, we didn't allow like a ton of points at the basket. Unless we had turnovers and they got steals, but other than that, once we got them into the half court, we made them score from 7-8 feet out. And, teams aren't at this level, like they're not. Teams aren't good enough to beat you from that far out for 40 straight minutes. If you allow turnovers and layups or just straight blow-bys and they're getting you in foul trouble, that's how you lose games. But if you can guard your guy and make them score over you, you'll be in the game at the last 5 minutes.
How unique is it to have two conference games in between your first half and quote unquote second half of your non-conference schedule?
Yeah, I remember we did it I think it was my last year at Montana State. We had two in early December. It's kind of the norm now because you have to fit so many games in, and we got so many teams in the Big Ten right now. To fit them all in before March Madness, you have to have those games. But it is weird to play like early. Like I don't know why we don't play them like right before Christmas and just kind of keep them all together. But yeah, it's a challenge, and it's a challenge for everybody. Because like I said, there's so many teams nowadays with the landscape of everybody has so many new guys, and you're not really like we're going to be a totally different team, and so is UCLA. Come the end of February, USC, like Oregon, like all these teams, like we're all going to be completely different the next time we play each other.
Hey, is it maybe a bit funny because you have a good record that with Tyler that you're 7 games in and he does not have an assist, or is that a point of contention? Do you guys rib him about it? Do you point it out? What do you make of that?
Yeah, he might be the only guard that is scoring the basketball in a threat like he is that doesn't have an assist. I mean, as long as he's making 5 threes like he did against Colorado State and really scoring the ball, you know, like that's what makes him special. But like I said, his next progression is being able to. He already knows it's hard for his guy to guard him one-on-one. Now it's getting to a spot and seeing where that help defender is. You know, he'll still be able to get a shot up, but he's, you know, getting teammates shots. You know, and that's when he'll become special.
You know, and it seemed like, again, I was not there, but it seemed like that a product of a Herb Sendek team is to kind of do that.
Yeah.
Did they do anything sort of different to him, and then how would you like him to respond?
Yeah, no, not really. You know, I think it was kind of how it's going to be in the Big Ten. Like, he ran into some big wings, some big strong wings. Like, Santa Clara is built like a Big Ten team. I mean, they were a lot bigger than us. You know, I mean, they had some 6'7", 230-pound wings, like multiple. And even the guys that came off the bench, you know, were big, strong kids. And so, you know, I don't think they necessarily did anything different other than just kind of, you know, be physical. And it allowed us to, the way they played allowed us to post great, allow us to post Zoom, to post Louis, you know, who we felt, you know, any whatever mismatch we thought we had, that's who we tried to post.
You get USC at the end of the week. We had a guy here, Yates, that was with the team all last year, but was injured.
Very
never
good player.
And I was just curious, with the transition and the changeover with coaches, did you ever meet him? Did you ever talk to him, or did he just leave? And I know he was tight with the other coaching staff, but
Yeah.
was there any connection between you and him before he
Yeah,
left?
yeah, we actually had quite a few meetings, and he was phenomenal. He was dead set on staying, and we had met multiple times, and yeah, and I don't know what happened at the end, and he just kind of came in and went into the portal, and I know he visited some schools back in the Midwest and South, but yeah, that's kind of. But yeah, no, I had great talks with him. I mean, great kid. I mean, obviously a tremendous scorer and a really good player. But yeah, no, a really good kid.
What are you seeing from UCLA so far in your early scouting report, and how do you kind of prepare for a team that forces as many turnovers as they do? Is that something you can prepare for, or is that just kind of the game carries itself out?
Yeah, I mean, if you turn the ball over, you're going to lose, you know, especially when you go play them on the road down there. But it's a typical Mick Cronin team. You know, I mean, they're gonna fight you. They're going to be physical. They're going to foul you hard. They're going to chest up. They're going to do all the little stuff that wins. Like, they're not going to beat themselves. And we have to be ready for that physicality. And like I said, you know, if the two things, if you don't take care of the ball, you're going to get your ass kicked. And number two, if you don't rebound the ball, you're going to get your ass kicked. And so, you know, if you look at, you know, they rebound almost 39% of their misses, you know, and I think they're scoring like 25 points a game off opponents' turnovers. And so, you know, I mean, that's first and foremost, that's the game. You can guard their actions, you can do all the cute stuff. We can go through to scout. When that ball gets thrown on the rim, that's when the game starts. And when you have the basketball, you better be strong with it, and you can't succumb to pressure. Like, you better be physical with the basketball, and you have to know it's Big Ten basketball now. Like, don't expect foul calls. Like, when you go to the rim, yeah, you're probably gonna get hit. You know, you still got to be able to finish or play off 2 feet and make the right play, because that's how the game's going to be played tomorrow night.
So have you ever played or coached in Poly?
Yeah, a couple times. You know, I was in Los Angeles for almost 18 years as an assistant, so I played at Northridge. First time ever, we actually beat them. It was 2001. They were like number 15 in the country, and we went at Northridge and beat them. And then got our butts whooped all the other times. There's probably 3 or 4 times I've been in there.
I went hitchhiking down in college and ended up sleeping in a sleeping bag behind Poly, and Johnny Wooden woke me up the next morning because he's walking around the track.
Not a bad story.
No.
Yep.
So when you talk about those statistics when the ball goes up, does that make you less reticent or more reticent to not maybe utilize a zone as a change up or to kind of get momentum back?
No, like, you have to throw different stuff at them. You know, you have to change the pace of the game, and just not let them run their stuff, because their guards are really good now. Like, it's UCLA. Like, they got tons of talent. You know, any one of those guys can go for 25 points. And, you know, Coach Cronin does a great job. Like, they share the basketball. They get the ball exactly where they want to get it. And then when that shot goes up, they know exactly where to go. And if their guys aren't going to the offensive glass, they're coming out of the game. And if they're not being physical, they're coming out of the game. And that's a staple of Coach Cronin's program. And that's why I love watching him coach. I love watching his teams play. But it's yeah, I mean that's how the game's going to be played tomorrow. But you have to. It doesn't matter if you're in zone or man. Like, you still have to box a guy out, and you have to go get it. You know, you can't wait for the ball to come to you. You better go get it tomorrow night at 7:30.
So it's not, so with the defenses though, with going to zone, it's not just, because I know in the last few games, the zones, especially in this, like the second
Yeah.
half against Santa Clara, I mean, it turned out to be a big momentum swing. You were able to confuse them and transition and everything else.
Our zones helped us win 3 or 4 games this
Yeah.
year. As crazy as it is.
But that
yeah.
said, it sounds like you're just as willing to use that as a change up to even try to maybe extend, as opposed to literally just try to maybe stop some bleeding.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Or get the momentum back.
Yeah. Yep. And it just, you know, sometimes it's just to take teams, just to make them play a little chaotic, you know, just to not come down and run their offense. You know, like tomorrow night, like they're going to get the ball to Bilodeau. You know, I mean, he's one of the best players in the country. You know, Sky Clark's going to push it in transition. You know, and you have to throw different things at them to kind of get them out of their comfort zone, hopefully. But like I said, then, I mean, they're still going to take a shot at the end of the possession. And that's when you got to rebound it.
In your opinion, is the matchup get them kind of speed them up or get them a little more chaotic, or does the trapping, does the 1-3-1 maybe kind of create that effect that you like?
I don't know. I don't know if it necessarily speeds them up. Sometimes you hope that it slows them down. You know, sometimes you hope that they just pass the ball around, you know, and and then some teams, they will attack it really quick, you know, which both of them work, you know, as long as they're missing the shot. You know, obviously the quicker they shoot and miss, if you can rebound it, the better. But sometimes it's just, you know, like I said, you know, taking them out of their rhythm and not letting them run their plays.
Hey, any quick update with Frank, and when do you expect to have him back?
Yeah, no, I mean he's looking good. He's already started his, you know, treatment and rehab, and you know, hopefully sometime after the new year, I would imagine.
You had a flurry of commitments and signings,
Mhm.
and I don't think you can talk about all of them. I don't think they're all signed. I'm not sure how the deadlines all hit, but
Mhm.
have you had a reaction to that? That you know, these guys are all kind of highly rated, and one of them was, at least reading all the comments, was kind of a surprise to the basketball recruiting scene, I guess. Do you feel like you're making a big splash, and are people reacting to that at all to you, recruits, that kind of thing?
Yeah, I mean, I think you are. I mean, because it's, you know, I think we have 3 top 100 kids right now, you know, and then we, you know, may have the best junior college player in the country, you know, signed. And so, you know, we still have more, you know, that we're not talking about. But, you know, even, you know, the one you were mentioning, you know, Nico Bundalo, you know, who everybody was kind of surprised. You know, we jumped in hard, and we'd known about him even previously. Now, he's from back east, but he kind of had UConn and North Carolina, Michigan State, I think Ohio State. And for whatever reason, you know, after the visits, you know, it wasn't working out. And, you know, and so we were in contact with his coach and his people. And so we kind of knew it wasn't working out. And that's when we jumped in kind of quicker than anybody.
So
And
he's signed, right?
Mhm.
Okay.
Yep.
Wow.
And so, yeah, and really talented kid, you know, 6'10".
Yeah.
You know, I think by the time it's all said and done, he might end up being 7 feet. You know, and he's a 4-man. He can shoot it. He's skilled. He's tough. He's Serbian. Like he's got an edge to him, which sometimes he needs to tame it down a little bit. But I'd rather tame it down than have to tame it up. And so I'm excited to get him up here. And you know, I think, you know, his potential is crazy.
How attractive is your system in terms of versatility? Like, you could be a stretch 4 or 5, great to play the 1 to the 5. Just how much of an appealing selling point is that? Have you noticed that be throughout your time, especially here in Washington?
Yeah, I think it's helped, you know, in recruiting too, because, you know, they see the usage rate of players like Great. You know, and I've had multiple players like Great, you know, so they see the usage rate, and it's not analytics. Like, some coaches I can tell you whatever you want to hear. Like, okay, well, here's the factual proof. Like, look at the 5 years I've been a head coach. Here's the usage rate for your position. Here's the usage rate for point guards. And so, you know, we really stress that. In every school, that's what they do in recruiting. But we really try to show the analytical data, you know, so to make sure that they're comfortable with it and they know exactly how we play.
We have time for one more if anybody has one.
How promising has the free throws been? It seemed like the last couple games, in previous games, you weren't necessarily hitting well, but it seemed like towards the end you were really hitting well. Like, everybody was hitting from the free throw line. How promising is that?
We were until I'm already getting old. I'm losing track. Was it the Colorado State game? Yeah, I mean, we missed 5. I mean, we almost cost ourselves a game at the end, you know, and we gotta just, you know, it's one of those, guys gotta get up there and knock it down and be confident, because it's one of those, when I see Makai make 2, I'm gonna make 2. When I see Great make 2, he's gonna make, you know, and it just, you know, the energy, the momentum gets a little contagious, where if somebody's missing, now it's kind of like, it puts a lot of pressure on the next guy. And so, we have to get better. We've been putting time in just like every other team in the country does, and hopefully we knock them down when it matters.
Is it a thing that will or has impacted the way you coach at the end of games?
Yeah, it has. And my teams have always been great at the free throw line, especially my point guards and bigs. You know, we had a kid, Jabril Bello, we'd run press offense to get our 5-man the ball sometimes at Montana State. And so, yeah, it is, because you know, you can only control so much because teams are going to foul you right away. And that's where our guys, you know, I'm confident. Like, I know we're going to make them. Like, you know, you don't want to lose one game just because of that. And, you know, and so our guys are putting the work in.
Is that something that can convert to game? Because when we talked about Great earlier in the year after those free throws, he'd always just say, "Oh, we're just going to be in the gym, just knocking out more shots." Is that something that just directly correlates, or is that just game experience at the end that those free throws can really make the difference?
Just game experience. You know, I mean, it's same thing as shooting threes. You know, you can go in at night and make 100 in a row, and it doesn't matter, because when the lights are on, you know, it's a different deal. And there's guys that are better shooting when the lights are on too. You know, and that, you know, playing so many guys, we got to find those guys that are really good in press offense at the end of the game, so we know who to have in. You know, guys that, you know, are confident to go to the free throw line at the end of the game. And we got to make sure we're getting them the ball.
Thanks, Coach.
You bet. Thank you guys. Go Dogs.